we get the chance to tell a success story on episode 106 of the Love in Lebanon podcast. It has led to a retail edition on Main Street. Mel McMahon with Indiana Gifts and Indiana Owned, along with Claire Collette from the Boone EDC and Missy Krulik with the Heart of Lebanon, share how it all happened and how retail incubation just might be taking off downtown. Episode 106 starts now.
Welcome to the Love in Lebanon podcast, highlighting all the great things happening in Lebanon, Indiana. Have an idea for an episode? Send an email to loveinlebanon@lebanon.in.gov.
Hey, we're here on this episode of the Love in Lebanon podcast talking about exciting things happening in downtown Lebanon. Joining me on this podcast, Mel McMahon. She is the co-founder of Indiana Owned and Indiana Gifts. Also, Claire Collette, the manager, entrepreneurship and innovation gal with the Boone EDC. And Missy Krulik, she's the executive director of the Heart of Lebanon. Ladies, thanks for filling this little circular table that we call the studio here in the office.
Thanks for having us.
So we've got an exciting story to tell, and from many different angles. So Mel, if we can start with you, you may be able to see Mel's shop down on the Courthouse Square in the Heart of Lebanon. You can currently find it at 103 East Main Street. It's called Indiana Gifts. Mm-hmm. Mel, can you kind of walk us through, in this podcast form, walking through and what the Indiana Gifts experience is at the moment?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. We're really excited to have a brick and mortar on Main Street. Indiana Gifts started as an online-only business in May of 2020. I own another company called IndianaOwned.com, which is like the Google for local. So every business on there is Indiana owned and operated, and we help you support your neighbors faster and easier, and we help those business owners get resources to be successful as well. And when the pandemic first started, we had a lot of members who lost their retail outlets, their art fairs, their marketplace events, and selling online wasn't what it is now. And so we put all of our members on one website. It was called Indiana.Gifts, and we helped them sell their product and helped a lot of them get through that first really tough year of the pandemic. And so being online for 2 years, I've always wanted a brick and mortar, and I have big dreams for Indiana Gifts. And it was really exciting to get the opportunity to open up a very charming shop on Main Street here in Lebanon.
And how do you go about finding these people? Do you reach out to them? Do they reach out to you? Is it kind of a mutual thing where I like what you do? Well, I like to be in your shop. And then you kind of work it out that way?
It's a combination. So we started with our members' products, right? We bought wholesale and sold retail because nobody had any time for consignment, right? It was we need to make money, and we had the money to spend at the time, and so we were happy to get it launched that way. But now we do wholesale and consignment. So we do have a lot of people stop by sharing what they make, and I try to be there to meet them so I can see the product, and we talk about what's going to do well and what maybe needs to be improved. You know, hey, we need tags on these items, or this needs better packaging, or, you know, we already have a lot of this, we're going to put you on a waiting list, right? It's not just a walk in and get on the shelf. But part of what I do in both businesses is mentor other business owners to help them be successful.
And so if you're following along in the story, you have the desire for a brick and mortar location. Mm-hmm. And sitting next to you is Claire Collette. She's with the Boone EDC, and sitting next to her is Missy. Ladies, how did the next step in this story kind of play itself out? Mel, did you reach out to Claire? Claire, were you kind of looking for, hey, I want to help her out and find a brick and mortar?
Yeah, I just sent Mel an email directly, and my email didn't go to die in her inbox, which is great. So that's a win. We met in Zionsville, and I just threw it out there of what her needs were if she wanted to come to Lebanon and what we could do to get her here. So we just spitballed for probably over an hour, and we made it work. And I reached out to Missy because she's been just a fantastic partner and moving downtown real estate. And so I was like, hey, you have a space. There was supposed to be an artist and it didn't work out. This is a perfect place for a pop-up shop. So it just came to fruition so well.
Well, and something I want to point out that Claire didn't know was that I live in Boone County. So I live in Webo. Don't hold that against me. I've gotten plenty of comments.
We're equal opportunity. Regionalism, we call it regionalism, right? We can
Right.
I live in the middle of nowhere, and they gave me a Jamestown address. It's not my fault, okay? But Claire didn't know that I lived in Boone County at the time, right? She sent me the email. It had her goals on it. I agreed to meet. We talked about what we wanted to do, and it was all lining up. And then she starts selling me on Boone County and selling me on Lebanon. And I'm like, Claire, do you know that I live 10 minutes from the square? And she had no idea.
Well, I have to do my spiel every time.
She had no idea.
Pitch. Come on.
What she also didn't know is that, you know, our mission at Indiana Owned is to create healthier, stronger communities and more jobs in Indiana by supporting those Indiana businesses in our community. And that was the piece that was missing from what I was doing, right? Like, I came to Lebanon all the time. participate in events, I eat at the restaurants, I shop at the stores, but I wasn't working in Lebanon. And that was the part that was missing because my offices were in Carmel at the time. And so just the stars aligned because my husband, Lance, who's our co-founder and also does a ton in the business, we were like, how do we get our businesses to Boone County, right? There's no reason for us to drive to Carmel. Why are we not having these businesses in our community? And then I kid you not, the next day I get an email from Claire that I actually saw because my inbox is where emails go to die. So if you want me to see something, call me. Please don't email me. I'll never see it.
So then, Claire, you reached out to Missy and said, hey, I know you have this space that was slated for something else, but this may also be a pretty worthwhile use too. Is that kind of how that played out?
Yeah, and I think Missy originally was a little hesitant because it's a leap. I mean, we've never done a pop-up shop downtown. We weren't sure how successful it would be, and it just continued to be a really good partnership. Her board of directors were really great advocates for the space too. And so hopefully maybe we can do another one in the future.
Dun, dun, dun.
It's very silent.
You can be honest. This is not live. So if you got to let the emotions out, you can. When Claire kind of came to you with this idea, you got this look on your face right now. Well, what was it like when you were first pitched this idea? It's a leap.
Yeah, no. We had originally intended the space to be for an artist gallery. And so I had that in my mind, like, this is what the space is going to be. And Claire came to me with this opportunity. And so I did think about it a little bit, go to the board, see, is this something we want to do? And the board, told me to pursue it. And so Claire set up a meeting with Mel and kind of wanted to meet her, see how we would work together in the same space and just see how it would work out. So had a meeting with Mel. She came and saw the space.
It was so intimidating because I'm like, oh my gosh, Missy has to really like me to share this space with me.
To share a bathroom.
Like, yeah. I mean, we share a bathroom, right? I mean, it is a teeny tiny space. It's charming. Yeah. It's a charming space, right? So not only did it have to work for the business, but Missy and I had to trust each other, right? And I think you could probably read me very easily. I'm not an actress. What you see is what you
what
get.
You feel.
Yes. But Missy has a much better talent of not letting you know exactly what's going on in her mind. And so I'm like just standing there drinking my coffee like, oh my gosh, she has to like me or she's not going to let me have the space, right? There's so much intimidation on both sides and then research and figuring out how is this going to work. And you have to trust each other, right? Because I'm in her space. It's not exclusive. And so we did have some back and forth trying to figure out, how's this going to work? Where's the space? Okay, you still need to come on this side because it's not my space and we're sharing a bathroom. And there's a lot that goes into it, but I'm so, so thankful that we worked it out because the opportunity has been amazing.
That was my next question, because if it doesn't make any money, it's not a very profitable business. How did it go and how is it going in downtown Lebanon?
Well, the support of the community was insane. Like before Christmas, our sales were up 1,357% over last year in the same time period.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
That's pretty good. I'm not a math person, but it's pretty good. Pretty good. But it went that way because we had the community support, right? And we have so many repeat customers. And Missy and the Heart of Lebanon was so good at promoting what we were doing. And same thing with Boone EDC. Like everybody knew what was going on because, they saw it on social media or I had so many people say, oh, I read it on this, I read it on that, right? And we really collaborated to make it a success. And it was such a success, that we're staying, right? We found a permanent location and we're going to be moving and not going anywhere for a while.
Let's break that news, if you don't mind, here on the podcast with Mel, Claire, and Missy. If you don't mind, currently at 103 East Main, I see here on the top of the website.
Yeah.
But
we are moving to 101 East Main Street. So just next door. Yeah, we're taking the corner spot at Main and Meridian. And I'm thrilled because we're moving both businesses to Lebanon. So Indiana Owned has still been in Carmel, but we're moving that to Boone County as well. So I'm thrilled to have a permanent spot and the support. And I'm just so glad it all worked out.
And Missy, the gal that was at that location, there's been some health deals. So it's the Boone County Candle...
Boone County Candle Company.
Boone County Candle Company, and because of health reasons, that there's been a stepping away, so it aligns wonderfully well.
And I'm going to be carrying her product
Perfect.
in the store. So customers will still be able to be serviced. And she's focusing a lot on wholesale right now and fundraising opportunities. So you can still order from her website. But we will have some of your favorite scents in the Indiana gift store as well.
Claire, how did this and why did this work? Because usually it's, Lebanon kind of has eyes, and we hear on the Lebanon Chatter 9 or 38, the number of different Lebanon chatters there are, because people are so friendly with that platform. But usually it's Lebanon being compared to Carmel. Lebanon doesn't want to be Carmel. This went the opposite way. Why did this situation work out so well? Mel talked about the red carpet and then the kindness of Lebanon people being rolled out. But why did this work with a Carmel location coming into Lebanon?
It works because we respond, and I feel like the Boone EDC and the Heart of Lebanon and the City of Lebanon, we are innovators. We're ready for something new and exciting, and we're welcoming to that. We're not complacent in where we're at. We're not satisfied with who's here already, which we do love our existing businesses 100%. But we're ready for new and creative ideas, and so that's where my conversation with Mel really started of, hey, we don't have something that exists in Lebanon like this. Come over here. Check it out. We'd love to have you. And we'll make it work. And we'll bring in partners alongside you and provide those wraparound services for you to be successful here, too.
And this is the second one of these. You talked about the cold calls and how well that works. Oaks on Main was a kind of an innovation effort that you put together and helped streamline that will lead to a coffee shop downtown, hopefully in the not too distant future.
Yeah, super exciting. Our office just sat down. We're like, okay, we need a coffee shop, something where people can go and have community in Lebanon. I mean, you have the city building and the county building right there. Where do these people go to have meetings? It's a really essential piece to a downtown. And so we approached Freedom Church and we're like, have you ever thought about something like this before? And they hadn't. But it was on their radar and their future plans, so it kind of just good timing, worked out well, and just responding and having good communication really makes those deals happen.
And then Missy, what kind of boon does that create, pun intended, Boone County, the boon, for the Heart of Lebanon to be able to add these establishments? So it's not, in the past it was law offices and occupying first floor spaces, and so a lot of downtowns are going back to the previous model of those offices would go to the second floor, opening up first floor retail. How great is it to be able to see these kind of missing pieces be filled with great locations like Indiana Gifts and Oaks on Main?
Yeah, it's really great. I mean, this is what we're striving for. This is what our vision and our mission is to bring vibrancy to our downtown, and we're bringing people downtown. Now we're just needing somewhere for them to go when they're downtown. So it's been great to work with Claire at the Boone EDC and just see that she knows what our vision is for our downtown, and she's willing to bring people to us to fill those vacancies and have it be something unique. Something that will make Lebanon unique and make it feel more like a community. I think Mel is really great at what she does in bringing a community of Indiana-owned businesses together. So she really gets the community aspect, and then being able to provide some unique gifts from those Indiana businesses in our downtown. It's something unique to us. So she's a dynamic person that's been a lot of fun to get to know. So I think we have a really great partnership here, and I can see that downtown Lebanon has a bright future, and we're excited about the new businesses and places for people to be in community.
And if only Mel would just tell us how she felt. I mean, if she keeps so many things. Folks, we're talking with Mel, Claire, and Missy here on this episode of the 11 Lebanon podcast. Mel, if you can you kind of tap into what Missy was talking about the bright future of downtown Lebanon? If there is another retail shop or other that might be giving Lebanon a glance, what might you say to them to have that be a longer look?
One of the things that Claire mentioned was responsiveness. I've met with several economic development people from across the state. Claire was the first one who actually got back to me, right? We've had great meetings, we've done tours, we've walked around, we've shared great ideas, and then I'm ghosted. Claire texted me back 3 days after our meeting, was like, I think I found you a space, I need you to meet Missy. I'm like, what? Who's Missy? And space? Where? Because I just expected nothing to come of it, right? Because I'd been burned so many times in the past. So Claire's vision, her courage, and her responsiveness are a huge asset to our community. Sitting across the bathroom from Missy since November, I have seen how hard she works to make our community better for everyone. She's putting in so many hours, tons of conversations, hand delivering all of the gifts we give away on the strolls. 40 events a year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That yes, she has a board. Yes, there are volunteers. If you don't have amazing leadership, that stuff's not going to get done. It doesn't matter how many people you have on your board. It doesn't matter how many volunteers you have. And so to see Missy work as hard as she does for our community is really inspiring to me because, one, it makes me want to be here. Two, it helps me see the future that we have, because when you have that kind of support, great things can happen, right? And if people had any idea what goes on behind the scenes with the Heart of Lebanon,
Headspin.
They wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't believe it. And we are so, so lucky to have her in our community. We really are.
How does that make you feel?
She's such an encourager. So, yeah, it feels great. We work really hard. I have a passion. I have a passion for the downtown, and I know what it could be, and I know what it could do for the community and for these businesses who struggle. I was a business owner in the downtown.
Here in Lebanon, right?
14 years ago, and I know what it's like to sit in your shop and it be just a ghost town. Nobody's walking around, nobody's coming in, and you've put your heart and soul into your business, and you feel like you're alone. And so I feel that emotion for the business owners downtown, and so I want them to be successful. I know where they're at, and I know where they want to be, and I want to do my best to help get them there because they're such an asset to the community. When people want to have a fundraiser or, and they want to raise money for their cause, where do they go? They go to the small businesses.
Because they have that extra, there's all the extra money and all the extra goods. They have stuff to give away.
Right?
Fun fact, local businesses donate 250% more to non-for-profits than big national organizations.
Yeah, and you can see that in the heart of the small business owners. And you can ask them daily. They get asked daily.
For a gift certificate or some little thing to give away.
Yeah, something. Yeah. Because there's so many causes out there, right? And so they just really have a heart for the community. And I want to be able to support that.
And I'm guessing that's something you would like to replicate, Claire, going forward, and seeing that the partnership and the mutual appreciation between Mel and Missy. I'm sure that this is kind of filling your bucket, so to speak, to be able to kind of do more of this, have more success stories.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yes, kudos to Missy for everything she does. She is the glue to the downtown, 100%. And Mel is just so fun to work with. I just really enjoying her presence. She is an encourager. That's 100% her. And so it's just really nice to see these partnerships come to fruition and relationships outside of work happen, and it's just so fun to watch, and I enjoy bringing these types of relationships to the table, and I think that really good things can come out of it in the future.
When's moving day? When will we be able to see Indiana Gifts open and Indiana owned open at 101 East Main? That's the next thing.
Hopefully the goal is March 1st. We should be completely moved in March 1st, and I'm very thankful to Missy for working with us because there's electrical work, there's different things you have to do to make sure the space is ready for something new, and so I have a goal of March 1st. If anybody would like to volunteer to help me move stuff and do inventory, come to the shop and say hello. But
you're consolidating both those businesses, bringing one in from out of town and one that's just a couple doors away.
Yeah. So Indiana Owned will be upstairs. We have a very cool loft in that building, which you can't tell from the street, but it's a very cool space. So Indiana Owned will be upstairs, and we'll have the store on the first floor. But a lot of people don't realize that where we are now at 103 East Main Street is a pop-up location. So everybody's like, oh, this looks great. We love it. Yeah, this was my temporary setup.
Don't
right?
get used to it. Yeah.
The permanent setup, we have, all new shelving, and we're using all local contractors to get things ready. And, it's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait.
The only thing we haven't figured out is how we're going to talk to each other through walls.
Yeah.
You have to go outside.
So we're
A couple
working
soup
on that.
cans, string.
Yes,
That's-
my 7-year-old brought that up, and he said, "Make sure that the string is tight, though, or it's not going to work." But yeah, we can't chisel a hole through the cement walls of our over 100-year-old building, so we do have some
I
walkie-talkies
was gonna
on
say
backup
walkie-
at the moment.
You got-
There you go.
But
Yeah, Heart of
that's
Lebanon.
been part of the fun, right? It's just really getting to know Missy, and she made it so much fun to go into the store every day. And even though it is so tiny, it's so worth it because she, one, has the best laugh, and two, just she inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing because we're all here for the greater good. And I really believe that. And I just see incredible things in the future.
When, not if, but when Mel moves to 101, that does leave open a space.
Yeah, and
Looking
Claire,
at-
the
I'm
pressure
looking-
is on.
I'm looking at you.
I know the bar is set so high.
Well, is
The
that,
bar high.
is that the desire? As you've helped grow and foster one business and great things are happening, is this kind of becoming an organic retail incubator?
That's
So-
what
or-
I hope for.
Okay.
It was actually on my to-do list to talk to Missy about, hey, so after March 1st, what's the next step? So I think that is definitely something Missy and her board needs to discuss and see if this is something that we can continue doing and offering as an incubator space for retail shops.
And if someone listening to this podcast would be like, I would love to open up a shop. I want to be the next Mel McMahon. Reaching out to you might be a pretty good idea via
Yeah.
email because you're responsive, right?
Yes.
Responsive, yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's Claire, CLAIRE, at betterinboone.org.
Put that in the info also.
Yes.
Ladies, thanks so much for joining us here on this episode of the podcast. Mel, thanks for choosing Lebanon. Thanks, Claire, Missy, for helping to make it happen. You can find Indiana Gifts at 103 East Main temporarily until roughly March 1st, and then you can go right on the corner at 101 East Main. Ladies, thank you again for being here on the podcast.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Hope it was fun, painless.
Oh,
Yes. All the above.
Notice the pause, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode. We'll bring you more episodes in the future. Take care, everybody.